Tonight, professional darts sells out arenas worldwide. But by 1989, 14 televised events had been slashed to one, and the sport was on the verge of extinction. Not because of its image, but because the money disappeared with the cameras. A generation ago, professional darts dominated the British airwaves. 14 separate television events filled the annual calendar, each with its own slot, sponsor, and audience. The BBC's grandstand carried the Embassy World Championship through winter weekends. ITV's World of Sport featured the World Masters and regional highlights. The British Open, Gold Cup, news of the World Championship, and even the quirky quiz show Bullseye all claimed regular airtime. In 1984, BBC and ITV schedules listed more darts programming than any other indoor sport. 9 distinct events in a single year, with millions tuning in for live finals and highlight reels. But between 1985 and 1989, the broadcast schedule unraveled at breathtaking speed. The BBC's grandstand began dropping tournaments, first the British Open, then the Gold Cup. ITV axed World of Sport in 1985, wiping out the Masters and local slots. Regional coverage staggered on for 2 more years before cost-cutting swept it away. The first World Match Play, a brief experiment on Sky in 1988, failed to attract enough viewers or sponsors to justify a second attempt. By 1989, only the Embassy World Championship survived. One event, a single broadcast window, and a shrinking studio audience. Flagship shows like the World Masters, British Open, and Bullseye vanished from the mainstream, leaving a void where darts had once been a staple. The BBC's internal memos from the era cite declining ratings and rising production costs, but the result was absolute: a 75% reduction in televised darts within 5 years. The collapse was not gradual. It was a near total blackout. The modern image of packed arenas and roaring crowds stands in stark contrast to the reality of 1989, when the sport's entire public life depended on a single surviving broadcast. Prize money in professional darts didn't just shrink, it collapsed. In 1985, the Embassy World Championship offered a £40,000 purse, with £10,000 for the winner. By 1989, that same event paid out just £10,000 in total, and the winner's check had been slashed to £2,500. The World Masters and British Open followed the same downward spiral. Tournaments that once guaranteed a living now barely covered travel expenses. Eric Bristow later recalled, "We went from playing for real money to playing for petrol money." John Lowe described the Masters prize pool as being cut from £20,000 to £5,000. Overnight, it felt like the sport was closing in on itself. For Phil Taylor, the reality was even starker. "I was washing cars just to pay the bills while trying to stay on the circuit," he admitted in a 1996 interview. The old certainty of a professional wage evaporated. Top players began pooling their meager winnings, splitting appearance fees from club nights, and hustling for exhibition matches to keep afloat. The numbers tell the story. By 1989, the total prize pool across all televised events had fallen by more than 75%. Sponsorships dried up as the cameras disappeared. Even household names like Bristow and Lowe found themselves negotiating for scraps. For most, the game was no longer a job, it was a gamble. The sport's entire professional structure teetered on the edge, with only the Embassy World Championship offering a lifeline, and even that rope was fraying. The collapse of television coverage didn't just shrink the sport's audience, it erased the foundation that made darts a living. Every player felt the ground shift beneath their feet. In a cramped London back room in 1992, the sport's biggest names gathered for a meeting that would change darts forever. Phil Taylor, Eric Bristow, John Lowe, and Dennis Priestley took their seats alongside 4 other leading professionals. Each man had seen the game's foundation crumble. Television contracts gone, sponsors vanished, prize money slashed to a fraction of its former self. For months, they'd scraped by on exhibition gigs and pooled appearance fees, watching their careers slip into uncertainty. Now, with the room thick with frustration and hope, the players drew up a plan. 8 signatories put their names to a declaration. They would form the World Darts Council, a new body with a single goal: wrest control of the sport's future from a system that had failed them. Their objectives were clear: restore television coverage, secure real prize money, and revive the professional circuit before it disappeared entirely. The mood was tense, almost conspiratorial, as Taylor later recalled. We had nothing left to lose. This was not a rebellion for power. It was the last stand of a group determined to keep darts alive. The BDO's response would be swift and unforgiving, but on that night, the players seized control of their own fate. The turning point arrived in 1994, when Sky Sports signed a landmark contract to broadcast the breakaway circuit's new World Championship. The deal, brokered by promoter Barry Hearn, guaranteed televised coverage, a £150,000 prize pool, and a regular slot on the fastest-growing sports network in Britain. For the first time since the 1980s, professional darts had a business plan built not on tradition, but on television and spectacle. Hearn's approach was unapologetically commercial: bigger venues, dramatic player entrances, and a media package designed for a new generation of fans. "If you want to build a sport, you start with TV," Hearn later said. "Everything else follows." The impact was immediate. Prize money surged, sponsors returned, and the player pool swelled with new talent. In 1997, a legal settlement forced the old guard to accept the Professional Darts Corporation, or PDC, as an equal governing body. The civil war that once threatened to end the professional game instead produced a rebirth. The PDC's model, anchored by television rights, star players, and relentless promotion, restored darts to the national stage. The crisis had revealed the truth. Without a broadcast partner, the sport had no future. With one, it became a business again. When sport loses its screen, money and meaning vanish. Darts survived only because its business was rebuilt: fast, ruthless, and televised. Every arena crowd today traces back to that near-total collapse.